Hey, what's up everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to Get Hit with the Truth. So today we are doing the November boxing schedule. So I'm going to read off the fights that are taking place, all the cards that are taking place in November, and going to discuss them, just a little bit to give you kind of a little quick preview of what's coming up this month and what you can see. Now, before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, I really would appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel up here. Now, when I do this, again, I'm at 585, guys, about 15 more. I want to get to 600 minimum by the end of the year. Got less than 2 months here. Help me out if you are enjoying the videos. Now, with the boxing schedule, how we do it is I break down anything you can see on American television. If you cannot see it on American television or apps, then I'm not even going to discuss it because what's the point? So let's get into it. Let's start with this weekend coming up, November 4th. You're going to see on DAZN earlier in the day, Joe Cordina from the United Kingdom in the main event will defend his IBF super featherweight title at 130 pounds against Edward Vasquez. Kind of a tune-up bout, in my opinion, a stay busy bout for Cordina. Vasquez is definitely coming in hungry, though. He wants to pull off the upset here. Cordina wants to capitalize here in his second reign and continue to build his name up and set up bigger fights heading into next year. Nothing really to speak of on the undercard, so just tune in. If you're in the United States, that will probably be that main event. That whole card probably starts around 11 or 12. And then, and that's West Coast time, and then you'll probably catch the main event between 2 and 3 o'clock. On ESPN that day, you're gonna have a card that features a pretty decent one. Efe Ajagba is battling Joe Goodall in a heavyweight showdown on ESPN Plus. That should be decent. Goodall's kind of a up and comer, and Efe Ajagba is kind of your veteran that's still trying to get himself in the mix here in the heavyweight division. So really looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be a pretty decent matchup right here. I'm really looking forward to seeing what goes down between these two. On the undercard, though, Raymond Muratalla, the undefeated lightweight contender on the rise, he is the one that upset, he pulled off the upset over Jeremiah Nakathila earlier this year on the Lomachenko and Haney undercard, and he's returning to face off against a guy named Diego Torres. So Muratalla is looking to stay hungry, try to get in the mix, the serious mix next year against your Lomachenkos, your Devin Haney's, your Shakur Stevenson's, guys like that next year. And a win here over Diego Torres coming back will help him get into that mix. So I'm looking forward to this card on Saturday night on ESPN Plus this weekend, November 4th. Then you got on the 16th. So nothing really going on the following weekend, the weekend of the 11th. But on November 16th is a Thursday. ESPN is bringing a great doubleheader, 2 championship fights. First on the undercard, Emmanuel Navarrete, who's usually a headliner, is defending his WBO 130-pound title against Robson Conceição, who really deserves another crack at a world title. So these guys are going to go at it for the WBO title. Navarrete trying to continue to impress and put himself in the lightweight contention following a win here. He's coming off his biggest win over Oscar Valdez in August, and he's taking on Conceição, who's a good boxer, who was pretty much robbed a couple years back against Oscar Valdez. Very questionable decision loss, and then suffered a he challenged Shakur Stevenson last year, but Stevenson came in overweight, so he's really in need and deserving of another crack at a world title, and he's getting his third and potentially final crack here on Thursday, November 16th for the WBO 130-pound belt. So that should be a pretty good scrap. That's the co-feature. the main event sees Shakur Stevenson, the guy I've picked to be the future pound for pound king of boxing. He will challenge for a championship in a third weight class as he goes for the WBC, the vacant WBC lightweight championship, as he battles the hard-hitting Edwin De Los Santos, who really is a knockout artist and out to prove why he is deserving of a title shot. Remember, Frank Martin bailed on a showdown with Stevenson, and that opened the door for De Los Santos, and De Los Santos wants to take advantage in getting his first crack at a world title. So that should be an entertaining card right there. Thursday, November 16th on ESPN. Make sure you check out that doubleheader. Then the 18th on DAZN. 2 days later on Saturday on DAZN, Diego Pacheco, the super middleweight undefeated contender at 168, returns to take on former world title challenger Marcos Coceres. Pacheco just trying to continue to add to his resume. Not really a good undercard to talk about. I didn't really see anything worth the note on the undercard to talk about. But Pacheco is entertaining, and he's looking to continue his undefeated streak rolling as he takes on the veteran Coceres in this battle. Then the big one, November 25th, Showtime pay-per-view, a 4-fight card that is worth, every fight is worth watching here. As we'll start with the undercard. Hector Luis Garcia, the reigning 130-pound WBA champion, will return from his first pro defeat when he moved up to lightweight and challenged Tank Davis in January and got stopped. He returns to make a mandatory defense of his belt against former world title challenger and mandatory #1 contender Lamont Roach Jr. Should be a pretty good battle right there. Good technical battle. I'm looking forward to seeing that bout. Then, Subriel Matias, well, not undefeated, but he is the IBF 140-pound champion. He'll make his first defense against undefeated mandatory challenger Shohei Ergashev, who is, I think he's like 24-0 with 21 knockouts, something crazy like that. Got a big knockout resume. Hasn't really beaten anybody, but he's getting a big opportunity here against the hard-hitting Subriel Matias. This is going to be an all-out war, in my opinion, right here for the IBF title. I'm really looking forward to that style clash right there. Then, in the co-feature, Jermall Charlo returns in a non-title contest to take on former world title challenger Jose Benavidez Jr. Charlo hasn't fought in over 2 years. It's going to be close to 2.5 years by the time he gets into this fight. And, he's just trying to shake off the rust. I guess that's why the title's not going on the line against Benavidez. And Benavidez, just a hungry guy, always down to fight, and really looking forward to seeing, I am looking forward to seeing Charlo back, whether I like the matchup or not. And Benavidez, I always like watching Benavidez fight. He's a guy that just comes and brings it. So Charlo returning in the co-feature on Showtime pay-per-view. But the big one, November in the main event, Demetrius Andrade, the undefeated former 2-division world champion, challenges for the interim WBC title when he takes on the Mexican monster David Benavidez, the undefeated former 2-time super middleweight champion, the current WBC interim champion at 168 super middleweight. The winner is essentially the mandatory challenger for Canelo Alvarez in 2024. Big time showdown right here between these two. These two guys that both have claimed to be ducked by Canelo. They're getting their opportunities finally, and they're going against each other to prove that they deserve that crack at Canelo for the undisputed title in 2024. Can't wait to see that fight. That's a really good card, actually. 2 world title fights, an interim title fight, big time fight. Now, top 5 fights of the month. Well, first off, the biggest card is absolutely the Showtime pay-per-view card on November 25th. The Shakur Stevenson card on November 16th, that Thursday night, is pretty fucking good. I'm looking forward to that one. And then maybe the third best card coming at you is this weekend, November 4th, with F.A. Ajagba and Goodall in the main event and Raymond Muratalla on the undercard. So I gotta say that's probably the second best card. Now the top 5 fights to look at in this month, it's kind of tough to say, because you know you have contrasting styles, different things like that. So number 5 though, I'm gonna go out, you know, I'm gonna say number 5 for me. Maybe we'll go a tie for 5th. In that area. God, it's really tough. It's really tough to put a finger on it. But I'm gonna say essentially tied for 5th are 2 mandatory fights, both on the November 25th Showtime undercard. Both the title fights there. First, the boxing matchup, the pure boxing matchup, the mandatory fight between Hector Luis Garcia and Lamont Roach Jr. This is a good matchup right here, and I don't think it's getting enough play. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a really good all-out boxing matchup, and I'm looking forward to the technical boxing, you know, fight that you have right here. Then the next fight up, Matias versus Ergashev, is just going to be an all-out slugfest, in my opinion, between 2 power-punching guys. Now, essentially, I mean, I guess you'd rather see Matias and Ergashev in terms of styles, but in terms of name recognition, guys that have like really done something to earn their spot, I think Lamont Roach and what's his name are equally on par with this one. Number 4 on the month is Emmanuel Navarrete against Robson Conceição in the co-feature on November 16th, that Thursday night on ESPN. Navarrete is number 1 in his division. Conceição is a guy who has a awkward boxing style that's tough to beat, but he's just a solid fighter, you know. And I'm just looking forward to seeing the style clash. But Conceição getting his opportunity, I want to see if he can break the rhythm of Navarrete. But I just like watching Navarrete fight. It's something that you want to see, a good challenge for Navarrete ahead of a potential run at 135 in matchups against Lomachenko and what's his name, Shakur Stevenson. You know, Navarrete can really throw himself into the serious mix at 135 if he gets a big win over Conceição. It's a good challenge for him, and I'm looking forward to that. So that's my number 4. Number 3, you got to give some love to Charlo and Benavidez Jr. Not to say it's going to be that great of a fight, but it's a decent matchup. Charlo is a name, whether you like him or not. I personally don't. He is a good, solid name in the sport, and you got to give him his props that this fight, a lot of people are looking forward to it, to seeing how he does, because essentially he is a Canelo contender. You know, he isn't a Canelo mix. So you got to show some love to this fight right here. Number 2 on the month is Shakur Stevenson and Edwin De Los Santos, the main event of the Thursday ESPN card. I'm looking forward to this one. I love Stevenson. I think he's great. I love his style. I think he's the future of boxing, and I can't wait to see him go after this title, because it's really going to give him a hold on the division. But De Los Santos is an exciting fighter that was willing to take this fight right away, and he packs a punch. So this fight is the number 2 fight of the month for me in November. But the fight that everybody's looking forward to the most this month, the fight of the month, is David Benavidez versus Demetrius Andrade. 2 undefeated fighters that have claimed that Canelo's ducking them, and now the winner is really going to be in line to call out Canelo, and Canelo can't avoid him in 2024. He just can't. It's for the interim title. It's basically to become Canelo's mandatory challenger, and I can't wait to see it. I love the style matchup. Both these guys are confident, and we're going to see who the man is on November 25th on Showtime pay-per-view in the main event. So make sure you're checking all these cards out in November. It's going to be a pretty solid month of boxing. Don't forget that Thursday night November 16th card, and the biggest card of the month at the end, David Benavidez and Andrade. That whole card is fucking stacked on Showtime pay-per-view. So that's it. That's what I got. That's the November boxing schedule. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.